Hello everyone, it's your boy King Grizzly Cineploft, and today I'm actually dropping my first video. This is gonna be a very interesting one. How do I go along with this? I don't really know how I'm gonna start this off, but been going through it. There's a lot I haven't got off my chest, a lot on my mind that I want to talk about that I haven't been able to talk about for some time. I guess I tried to push it all to the side and act like it wasn't really bothering me or really coming off as really rubbing me the wrong way, which in its case it has, since it's dragged out to the point where for the last 4 or 5 years I really haven't got any type of sense of peace or morality out of this, or any closure that I wanted to, even though I should be. And it is cold outside. I just want to say, for those last 5 years, I guess I've been dealing with a situation that's been out of my control. I've tried as many times as possible to see what I can do, push it to the side. Unfortunately, it has yet to leave me alone. And honestly, feels like I've been running up a hill for quite some time without any answers, without any idea why this all happened. Let me get straight to the point. I guess this all happened back in 2021. I was still in high school, if I remember very clearly. I had moved away from Fulton County, moved all the way to, Gwinnett. Was out with my mother grocery shopping. I remember one day she asked me to go grocery shopping with her. My little brother was at home, so he was currently fine. I'm doing my thing, little whoop-de-woo. Nothing too special out of it. However, I came across somebody that I didn't know at the store with my mom. We parked in, went to go get our groceries, the usual, just helping out my mom, getting groceries and going in the house. All of a sudden, I feel this sense of somebody was watching me, or I got this urge that something wasn't right. I was with my mother, doing her turn, and we see this dude acting pretty strange and off with us. He acted pretty weird. I kept glancing back at him. I'm glancing at my mother for a little while. Eventually, we left the store, but I kept a close eye on him and stuff. After that, I ended up going straight. I think I went straight to the car with my mother, put our groceries in, kept glancing at him, glancing at his car. He kept looking back at us in that store, and I guess it looked like he was following us for a little bit. Got in his car. We took a picture of the license plate. I don't know if my mother still has it. To this day, I might not know. I'm not sure. Probably does. I can't really tell. Also, after that, went home, told my brother everything that happened. Ever since then, it's kind of been a little bit crazy with my life. Ever since that day, that guy kind of gave me that look and looked like he was following me and stalking my mother. My life's been kind of a bit of a upward spiral, to say the least. It's gotten quite to the point where even now, I still think to this day, I'm not even sure what that guy's intentions was. He's acting pretty weird and off. After that, things started going pretty much left from there. My mom felt like she was getting followed constantly. I had to keep watching over my back and looking after my brother, making sure nobody was following us, because I'm not gonna lie, after that I was pretty much paranoid and unsure I was truly gonna be okay. After that, I straight up went on to pretty much, just stay more cautious, be more aware of my surroundings. I talked to strangers here and there, but I still kept a close eye on who was exactly, actually mentally okay and stable, and not someone just out to try to get me. So I guess after that, mental spiral went down from there. My mother had a lot going on with her. So did me and my brother. It got kind of to the point where, with this situation going on and the amount of things she saw and the way it started looking like people were following her, things went very much wrong. It got to the point where my mother was very much paranoid, just as I was with my little brother. And I guess this caused a downward spiral in her mind, and I guess this led to a whole lot of complications and everything, leading to the mental breakdown that she had back then. I don't recall if this happened in 2021. It was somewhere, and I'm pretty sure in 2022 when this occurred, because I had a lot going on through 2021 and 2022. After a while, it's still coming to me in bits and pieces. Eventually, she pretty much seemed very much out of it. She seemed to have these voices talking in her head. It got very much worse from there. I can tell she was pretty much out of it and just very much exhausted and pretty much over everything. Once that occurred, it went on from there. Started hearing voices in her head, like I said. Every now and then, me and my brother, when we used to live back over there, would hear her talking, having full-on conversations about it. It got very much strangely disturbing and a little creepy. I'm not gonna lie to you. Very much terrifying, to the point where she felt like they were just constantly around her and talking to her. And those times weren't really my best for me and my brother. I remember those moments very vaguely. How I think at one point he was in the living room when my mother was down there with him, and she was screaming at the top of her lungs. It was pretty bad. It got to the point where I had to kind of get family members and certain folks involved. I don't think I remember telling my friends this. I know I told a few people I knew about it, but I didn't tell everyone. I was kind of dealing with a lot at that time. My mom was kind of over it. She was pretty much at her breaking point at that situation. I remember out of nowhere she decided to get us in a car. After that, we ended up driving down the road. Mind you, I'm with my brother, my mom. I'm not even sure if this is a good idea, considering the type of mindset she was in at this time. But eventually, we're driving on the road still. We seem totally fine for now, but I was very much concerned about the whole driving thing, considering how messed up this whole situation was. After that, we managed to make it there surprisingly safe and sound. Eventually, got out of the car. My mom started acting up a little bit, basically giving up certain things. I know she held valuable to her. She nearly almost gave up her computer and everything. And I was a little terrified and very unsure what to say. At this point in time, when this all occurred, I think I was definitely there with my brother, and I was looking at my mom. I think me and my brother were trying to convince my mom not to give it up. She kept walking up to a few people. It looked like she was definitely just very much out of it and unsure, very much scared half to death, trying to get somebody to take her laptop. They didn't want it. I think she ended up trying to throw it out. I went back to go get it. We went in the hospital. We had talked for a little bit. After a while, she was in there talking to the people, saying that she needed to have an evaluation with herself, pretty much just checking to see if she's okay. She's saying she's got these voices in her head. She was breaking down, crying. It got to the point where I was actually literally just kind of struggling to understand everything. It was a lot on my mind at that point in time. I think I was just literally disconnected. Like, I disconnected for like a good chunk of the time while this was going on. They had to check on my mother, see if she was okay. They brought her in, made sure she was good. She seemed a little, definitely frantic, to the point where she even got into a corner, had to check on her, see if she was good. The doctors had to see if she was good, making sure she was all right. Even put her on the bed, just making sure she was okay. After a while, they managed to calm her down. I don't remember the exact people that she had mentioned that were in her head, but she did mention a few people. I think one of them was like Phoebe. I can't remember the last one. It was pretty messed up. It was some pretty fucked up shit. So after that, I went from there, and I checked on her, and it seemed like they were starting to get a little bit of a breakthrough with her, just helping her calm down and saying everything's gonna be fine. I remember putting in my name just to help them in, letting them know. I had to call my dad, let him know. I think I even let my sister know everything that was going on, as well as I think my auntie and a few others, other family relatives. After that, I think the one part that nearly almost broke me when this was going on was the fact that I tried to check on her, but she wasn't sure. I don't think she really recognized me and my brother at that time when she was going through that phase, to the point where as we checked on her, she panicked and flinched from a touch that I was trying to comfort her, and she's like, I think the words that actually nearly tore me apart when this situation was still going on, which I guess this is still dragging on to this day, is I guess she asked who was I. They had to explain to her that we were her kids. I kind of was nearly torn and literally brokenhearted for like a good minute. I was still suffering. I'm not gonna say it was for a full minute. It was like the whole time. I was actually literally pacing around. My brother was literally just quiet the whole time. He tried to check on her. She said, who am I? Tried to tell her, they had to tell her that those were her kids. And she's like, I have kids. I guess I even had to say my name and even Matthew's, and I think my other sibling's name. After that, she said I have kids. She seemed a little surprised. Meanwhile, I was over here literally just at my breaking point and limit and hurt like hell. I was unsure. My dad called, asked what happened. I told him everything, told him the situation. I think after that, I remember my dad either asked if I was going to be okay. And I even told him I wasn't sure. We had to leave her there for some time in the hospital, just making sure she was okay. And I guess that left me in charge of being the man in the house. And I guess at that time, I kind of was forced to kind of take charge of everything, just kind of making sure things were in the house. I don't even remember having a job at this time, but we did have food and stuff. My dad even brought stuff, so I even told him like we need certain things. So it was pretty much that. Other than that, that went on for quite some time. I remember hanging out with my sister after a little while just to get things in check. Still traumatized to this day about that. And after that, what did I do? Hung out with her. I think I remember checking on my mom. She called us, letting her know that she's okay. They kept her there for a little while. Eventually, she would come home, hug us, and seem like she was okay. I was hoping that would be the case after everything that occurred at the time that she had went through. However, it's dragged on past this point. I guess I don't know. I don't know about this whole spiritual thing. I don't do this spiritual stuff involving the certain things that be going on, whether it's certain things like people following her, stalking her, the airplanes, I guess the police thing, all of that, even the whole spiritual thing, people attacking the vessels, the whole King of Cups thing. I don't know about all this, man. I've just been trying to get my life back together for 4 or 5 years. The last time I had an apartment or literally had a place to stay other than, well, I might as well say a hotel, was probably back in 2024, and ever since then I've been staying in a hotel. Got convicted last year, I think it was between either January or February. Moved into a hotel, was pretty much depressed, didn't want to talk. Every time my mother brought up a conversation, I stayed silent, didn't want to talk about anything. wasn't really in the mood to really conversate or really say anything. I felt like most of that fell on me because I had a job, I had money. I just made selfish decisions, which it got to the point where even now that I look at it, that every time I look back, if I hadn't spent so much money and been so careless and hadn't been giving out too much money to folks, I possibly could have had a place or even a house by now. It's kind of what falls on me, as literally I'm still thinking about it. That's kind of why I kept shouldering the burden of the situation, and I kept refusing to talk because I didn't want to literally announce anything about it, concerning the fact the situation had pretty much broken me and crushed me. I don't know what I'm gonna do from here on out. Situation's still going on. As long as I know, my mom feels like she can't work, feels like people are slowing her down and stopping her. I'm still trying to figure out how to get my money back up. I don't have a lot of money. I'm just trying to figure out generally where do I go from here. Is it really all worth it? Is it really not? Just trying to figure this all out. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, I'm not sure. Just trying to make a better difference and make better decisions, use my money more wisely and help out the family. That's all I'm trying to do. So there's this big situation, the hotel, everything my mom went through, everything me and my brother went through together, the family, all of that. But yeah, that's all. I'm gonna pretty much leave it at that. If you like, comment, subscribe, thank you, and goodbye.